so sorry this is so long. Maybe I included too much detail. Girl, please, there's not ever too much detail. I don't know, I don't post very often. I'll put a TLDR at the end. This took place a while ago, 2015, but I'll probably never forget it. Around 21 at the time, female, was still fairly new in my city. I had just gotten out of a bad relationship, wasn't in the best place mentally, and I didn't know a lot of people in towns besides my ex and his friends. Ugh. I was on a dating app, hookup app, looking for people to hang out casually with. Maybe find a fuck buddy, I think, or something. I had matched with a 25-year-old guy, Simon. We talked sporadically in the app for a few days. He explained he was in a band and living in a house with his bandmates. Mm. He sent me their music. It was just audio on YouTube with a heavily edited still image of or five guys playing rock instruments. One of them looked like him. The music was interesting combination of styles and not really for me. But whatever, he seemed like a nice enough guy. He stopped replying for a few days and I figured that was that. Moved on. Fair enough. Then one day I was at work and got a message from him saying, "Sorry, he'd been so busy, bro. Mm, no one is that busy." And inviting me to a barbecue with his friends and bandmates. Ugh, in their yard. He had explained that their band manager was providing them the house to live in based on the lack of views on the YouTube video and the fact I only saw one photo of him playing in the band. I figured he was probably exaggerating the band manager thing. I think so too. Bro, chill. 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 You have two views and one is mine. I thought it was more likely something along the lines of a bar manager friend giving them a discount on rent. Oh, you're too good to think that. On rent in exchange for being a house band at their bar or something. And I didn't think much beyond it. Girl, he just. I didn't read all the story, but from what I see here, he tried to put a perfect picture for you. You know, I'm in a band, I'm so cool, you know, and you are here trying to be like, fi- you were trying to find an explanation for why is why, you know. Why is are these shady things happened, like his band not being known and not popular, and you are like, okay, I will come at date at with you and four more guys, what can happen wrong? Like, girl, how desperate are you? Like, sorry, but what the fuck. I'm not shading you. I'm just like, I'm saying this for the girls. Obviously you learn your lessons, but for the girls who will see this video, you know, and I want them to think harder and to think like, hey, is this happening or I'm just trying to excuse the behavior, because here it's trying to excuse the behavior. Let's go. Um, yeah. Based on the lack of views on the YouTube video and the fact I only saw one photo of him playing in the band, I figured he was probably exaggerating the band manager thing. I thought it was more likely something along the lines of a bar manager friend giving them a discount on rent in exchange for being a house band at their bar or something, and didn't think too much of it beyond that. Normally, I would have just said no to going to a barbecue alone at the home of someone I really didn't know. But I was really bored and figured I might be able to overcome some social anxiety and maybe even make some female friends. Did he told you there were some female friends? Anyway, he could have lied. Since he made it sound like a pretty big party. Oh, okay. I can understand that. I put the neighborhood he gave me into maps, and it was a suburban area with lots of families as far as I knew. I figured being in a yard on such a nice summer day wouldn't be overly risky because lots of neighbors would be outside. You think? Plus, it was just a few train stops away from my workplace, and I was off in few hours. I didn't tell him I wasn't overly comfortable with the idea since I didn't know him well, but I will stop by for a bit if I didn't need to go inside the house at all. He said that was totally fine, which made me feel a lot better. I even made sure to not drink anything for the rest of my shift so I wouldn't be risking needing to go inside to use the bathroom. Oh. I was anxious about just showing up to a barbecue with people I didn't know at all. Understandable. As he implied that the event was already underway. Plus, I would have had a hard time finding a specific address from the backyard side, so I asked Simon if he could meet me at the train station since he said it was a quick walk away. Anyway, he agreed to do that, and I let him know when I was leaving work and what time maps said the train will get into his station. I sent Simon a message to tell him that I arrived at the train station around 5:30 after I looked around and I couldn't find him. He told me he was running behind and to just start walking towards the neighborhood. I was about halfway across the massive train station parking lot when I saw him slowly wandering towards me. I recognized his clothes wearing bell bottoms when they were not common, especially for men, and long hair from far away. But up close, his face looked pretty different from his photos. Uh-oh. It might have been some heavy duty editing. Bruh. And distance. And photo from distance. I don't even know, but he kind of looked like a different guy. I bet he had acne problem. Older looking than the 25-year-old guy in the photos by 5 to 10 years. Huh, maybe he his face got older with 10 years until he met you. Maybe he stayed in the sun too long. Maybe he used photos of his brother or something. I don't even know. It was before AI. This was the first real red flag, but I brushed it off. Never brushed it off. Maybe he's just self conscious. Maybe he smokes a lot. Yeah, he smokes a lot. Like 10 years worth of cigars before he met you, like in a day. What to say? Um and doesn't wear sunscreens. Exactly as I told you. He was sitting in the sun and hadn't taken pictures in a while. All of his pictures looked candid, so I figured he wasn't much of a selfie guy. And besides, I'm mostly here to make friends anyway, so I shouldn't judge his appearance so harshly. He was also clearly already drunk, but a lot of my ex's friends were heavy drinkers, so that didn't seem strange. He's hosting a barbecue after all. Is he? The second red flag came shortly after when we arrived at the front door. One second, I want to see something. La 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 la. Yeah. The second red flag came shortly after we arrived at the front door. I reminded him that I wasn't comfortable going inside the house, but he assured me we will just have to walk to get to the backyard. Okay, fine. It wasn't the kind of neighborhood where you could just walk around the house to get to the backyard. We would have had to backtrack to the main road to go down the alley directly to the backyard. I don't understand nothing. I figure he just forgot what I said about not wanting to go inside. Well, remember him again. And I didn't want to cause a bunch of trouble. Oh, this is so me in my 20s. Didn't want to cause a bunch of trouble, so I went with it. We got in the house and he immediately closed the door and locked the dead blood. Oh my god! And not behind you. Oh my god! What? I didn't think that was too weird. At this point, do you want him to tell you like, "Hey, I'm gonna What? What do you want him to say? That was not weird. How? I will shit my pants. I didn't think that was too weird since nobody was hanging out inside and a lot of people are just in the habit of locking the door when they come in. But it did still give me the heebie jeebies. Ooh, for some reasons. Then Simon then told me he'd really like to give me a tour of the house. That means his bedroom. I politely declined, sir. I don't want to sleep with you. Like, we just met 5 minutes ago. I politely declined and reminded him that I was just there for the barbecue. He said that he and his bandmates had worked really hard to get the house and he was really proud of it. It was a nice house though, because it's not worth it. At that point, I was getting really skeptical because usually when guys tell me things that seems a bit far-fetched, they'd let the truth slip by the time they got me to their house. But still, I convinced myself, see, that's your problem. You convinced yourself from the time the story started, the time that you decided to meet this guy. Don't do that, guys. I mean, guys and girls. But still, I convinced myself that I was being unreasonable. I was already in the stupid house anyway. I was feeling GBDB. He insisted, not my first language. He insisted it be quick. Not the wisest choice of words. I know, but I was pretty good at explaining away red flags. I see that. So at this point, Simon still mostly had a dopey stoner art guy kind of vibe as far as I was concerned. He really didn't seem like a threat, just an insecure oddball who sucks at communicating. That's what you tell yourself. And fibs a bit. Not unlike my ex, who was definitely emotionally and verbally abusive, but it never escalated past that. I figured at worst he'd get handsy and I'd get cancelled a prude for not sleeping with him. I didn't have a lot of self worth at the time, obviously, so I went with it. Don't worry, like most of us don't have it until late in life, right? Right? The tour started pretty uneventfully, other than that, the decor in the common areas was obviously chosen by a middle aged Martha Stewart enthusiast and not a bunch of guys in a band or their fake band manager. I didn't know if this should make me feel better or worse. On one hand, he was clearly lying, but on the other, it made me think it was probably just someone's mom's house and she just was out of town and he didn't want to tell me he lived at a friend's parents' home and didn't actually had a paying job. Yeah. Again, total red flag, but I could rationalize it at the time. The bedroom doors were all closed. Bathroom was unremarkable. He then showed me the kitchen, and I finally saw through the window that there was nobody in the backyard. Oh, there weren't even barbecue supplies around. No burgers, towing on the counter, no cocktail supplies lying around, nothing. I asked him where everyone was and why he lied about the barbecue. And he told me that his bandmates were on tour still. Without you, bro. They were just running behind due to van trouble, but they should be back any minute. Yeah, still, but why don't you have something ready? Like, I asked him why he wasn't in the tour with them. If he's in, but they mean the band. I don't even remember what his answer was. Probably a lie to that because it didn't make any sense. At this point, I'm out of mental gymnastic to convince myself that this guy isn't completely full of shit. And I'm really freaked out. Took me long enough. I'm smarter now. Don't worry. High five. I started trying to figure a way out of this situation. I hoped that once he was done the tour, we could go outside, even just for a minute, and I just leave. I'd been in some sketchy situation in the past, but luckily nothing so bad that they tried very hard to physically stop me when I walked away in a semi-public space. I wasn't comfortable doing it inside the house. I knew this guy was full of shit, but I had no idea how much worse it would get. Girl! I instinctively pretended to believe his bullshit. He offered me a beer. I said no thanks because I had to work in the morning. He said okay and cracked one for himself. Sir, aren't you drunk enough? Then he wanted to take the tour downstairs. I could see from the top of the stairs that the basement was dark and creepy, kind with really small windows. So I refused. I asked if we could go back outside. He said after the tour. I tried to argue about going into the basement. I told him I have a spider phobia, I don't like basements, etc. All lies, but anything that wouldn't let him realize that he was what I was afraid of. Girl. He started to get agitated about my reluctance, so I figured it will be better to just let him show me the damn basement. Girl, that's how horror movies start. And then hopefully we could go outside alive because I really didn't know what else to do. Girl, girl. The basement was fairly unremarkable. Couch, TV, elliptical, until I noticed something that gave me chills. The house was probably built in 1990s or late 80s at the absolute earliest, but I saw a door that looked just like the heavy foam lined door to the cold storage room in my grandma's house, the kind that only opened from the outside. It was just a smaller version of the big metal doors in commercial walk-in fridge. It looked really out of place in this house. I would absolutely not go anywhere near that door. He opened it and told me it was their soundproof music studio. I looked inside from a few meters away. I did indeed look It did indeed look soundproof. It was about the size of a bedroom, and I could see a few guitars and amps in it. Mattress toppers on the walls, no drum kit or recording equipment that I could see. He insisted I go inside to get a better look. He was standing outside the door, motioning for me to go inside. Holy shit, the alarm bells are really going off now. At this point, I realized I could totally die here. It's like that meme. I'm in danger. That was you, boo. I'm if I'm not careful enough and I turn around to run up the stairs, he closed the door and followed me, asking what's wrong, acting like I'm being all unreasonable for not wanting to see his soundproof music studio. So I am realizing that this is a way sketchier situation than any of my ex bullshit, and I'm freaking right out. And I'm freaked. At that point, my main objective was getting out of the house. The front and back doors were both closed and locked, so I tried to run. He'd be able to get me before I could get the locks open. The bathroom did not have a window. The house had a convoluted floor plan that I wasn't familiar with, and he was much bigger than I am. He was the tall, lanky type who can run fast even if they're out of shape and smoke a pack a day. I pretended that I was okay with hanging out with him in the hope that he'd chill out a bit. We made small talk for a few minutes. He cracked another beer and thankfully he calmed down. I desperately mentioned it yet again that it was beautiful outside and suggested we'd go sit in the yard while we wait. He said no and started to get agitated that I wanted to leave already. Oh my god. I told him that I could stay, but I just really like to smoke a cigarette. He told me that we could smoke cigarettes inside and pointed to a cereal bowl full of cigarettes butts. God damn it, we sat down at the table and lit some cigarettes. As he was smoking, he started rolling a joint, which he promptly lit as soon as the cig was done. He offered me some, and I said no thanks. He insisted, so I took the smallest puff I could. I'm pretty seasoned with smoker, but I pretended to cough excessively and I told him I'm a novice, so that's more than enough for me. For a liar himself, he thankfully wasn't very good at picking up the lies of others. After we smoked, he asked if I'd like to watch a movie until his bandmates get back. I told him that I was really looking forward to spending the day outside and suggested we go for a walk or visit the park. Ideas he did not like or appreciate. At this point, I was trying to keep as much distance as possible between us, but he stayed close enough to me that I could smell the beer on his breath. He grabbed me by the waist and I backed away, sir, and asked about the barbecue food to try and change the subject and make him think I still believe what he was telling me. He started to get angry again and sternly reiterated that his bandmates should be home any minute, and my anxiety was absolutely through the roof. I tried to calm him down with a generic small talk. Now I don't know how I got so lucky, but the next thing that happened might save me. Simon went to the fridge to get another beer, and I pulled out a empty box. At this point, he's getting even more pissed off than before. So I went out on a limb and suggested we get some more beer for the party because I was out of the ideas. I was terrified that it would enrage him even more to suggest once again that we leave the house, but I had to try. Thankfully, though, his eyes lit up with the possibility that I could actually be down to drink with him, and he agreed. You are lucky that he was stupid. As we were walking to the liquor store, I still didn't really have a plan because I was no longer comfortable just walking away from this fucking menace in this weirdly desolate suburb. But I was extremely relieved to be out of that house. I walked with him to the liquor store, and when we got there, I told him I didn't need to go inside if he was just gonna go grab some beer. He insisted that I had to go inside. No, I don't. At that point, I was so stressed and frazzled, I just went with him and hoped that a good opportunity to leave would arise. I will have run immediately as oh, you don't have a car. I forgot. I thought she had a car. When we got inside the liquor store, he asked me what kind of beer I wanted. I reminded him that I had to work tomorrow and I didn't want to drink much. He demanded to know what kind of beer I wanted, so I just named the first one that came to mind. We went to pay. The cashier was kind of an asshole, so I didn't ask for help. I hate that. I probably should have, but I panicked. Girl, you don't have a cell phone, and I didn't. I hope there might be somebody in the parking lot who might help me if I made a scene, but there was nobody. I really regretted not asking the liquor store guy for help, but also remembered the times my ex told people I was crazy so they wouldn't take me seriously. Liquor store guy definitely seems like he would have fell for that. So probably for the best I didn't expect him to help me. I had one last idea before I took my chances, just trying to run and or scream. There was a drugstore across from the liquor store. I told Simon I had to buy a toothbrush or some shit that vaguely implied I might stay over. He eagerly agreed to this but tried to follow me into the store. I told him that you're not allowed to bring beer into a drugstore. I don't know if that's even true. I really doubt. I really doubt it's any kind of law. But luckily, this drunk douchebag believed it and agreed to wait outside. Now, my naive ass thought maybe I could just wander around in this drugstore for long enough and he would either get the hint or get sketched out or bored and leave. But no, I must wandered around the store for at least half an hour. And this jackass is still standing there staring in the window. This creep didn't even have his phone out. Every time I checked, If he was still there, he was just staring through the window looking for me. I didn't feel like I had anybody I could call in the city. Oh, girl, to come to help me. The cops here don't usually take things like this very seriously. Why? And the store's worker looked like they were mostly high school students, and I didn't want to drag them into this. Oh, so I really didn't feel like I had a lot of options. After being in there for so long, I was surprised he didn't come in to see what was taking me so long. I thought maybe I could lose him in the aisles and sneak out of the store if he did come out, but nope. I ended up hovering around the tills and waited until a big group of friendly looking people were paying. I followed them off the store and immediately told Simon to leave me alone and go home. I said firmly and loudly enough to imply that I will make a scene if needed be. Simon looked at the people getting in their car, who were now pausing and looking at us because I had nearly yelled at him. And then he just turned around and left. Oh my god. It was bizarrely anticlimactic, which I was very thankful for. I ran to the train station, which thankfully was in a different direction than his house from the store. Oh my god, and I never heard from him again. When I got home, his app profile had either blocked me or been deleted. Both. Years later, after I stopped compartment, I don't know, the whole thing, I wish I would have reported him or something. It bothers me to wonder if he tried it again with someone else, but made sure the fridge was stocked first. But at the time, I didn't think nobody will take me seriously. Girl, I was embarrassed of my choices and I would wanted to move on from the whole thing. Plus, all I really had was likely fake first name and the general idea where the house was, which probably wasn't even his. I'll probably never know any more that I do now, and maybe that's for the best. Anyway, Simon, you lying paws. Let's not meet. TLDR, in my early 20s, I met a man on a hookup app and agreed to go to a barbecue. Edit. Yeah, I'm gonna make it even longer. Sue me. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my story and thanks for everyone who had left me comments and feedback. I really didn't know what to expect when I posted this, but your kind words truly means a lot. I tend to process things by writing them out and rereading them over and over again. So this was a way of moving past the whole time, and I'm glad I shared it. And I'm shocked by how many people have enjoyed reading it. I'm sorry to hear about how many of you have experienced similar things, but your stories have helped me forgive myself. Oh, babe. I feel like if this story has helped anyone feels less alone in having gone through something similar, or even just used as a distraction from the stressful things in their own life, then something positive has come out of it. Just please don't be afraid to meet people or go on dates. Be cautious, be curious, but you don't need to be fearful. This situation was not normal at all. I'm also really surprised and flattered by how many messages I've been getting about using this story for podcasts and videos, but I really don't sign into Reddit often enough to reply to all of them. So if you want to use it, just go ahead. Thank you. I feel like I am punishing the people who are thoughtful enough to ask first by not replying in a timely manner. So honestly, just go for it. I'm so past the whole thing. It's the internet story now, lol. I prefer if you don't use it for AI narrated channels, but I understand that once you share something in this way, it's not really yours anymore. So whatever, lol, you do you. Thank you for being so chill about it. And thank you for sharing your experience. It means a lot for me and for lots of young women who probably were in the same situations as you, because it's not all men, but every woman has a story with a weird fuck like this. So take care out there, and if you like, please like and subscribe, share, comment, tell me your opinion, maybe tell me your story. I genuinely want to know. So yeah, see you when I see you. Bye.